Hello everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. May I audible all of you? Okay. So good evening, Raj. So there are very few participants today in this session. I have shared the material up to last session. Okay, today because I was also very busy in some other work in last few days. So Alka, are you getting the material link or not? Have you got the material link?
Not yet, but today I will check it.
Okay, so because your name is not there in the sharing list, so I asked you. So please, if you have not filled that form, please you fill that form. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So we could attach you over there. Na?
Okay, sir.
Let's continue the session. Uh, uh, we have covered in our previous session up to the function we have covered. No? Yes. Now we see some more. So let me share my screen with you. And I just Python function we have finished in the last session. Do you have any query, any doubt? Yes? Don't have? Okay, nice. So later and hide video panel. So today we'll see lambda function. So a lambda function is a small anonymous function. Do you know what does it mean by the anonymous function? Okay, it means that we could not give a name to the this function as we were giving here some name to the function name like this. Okay, so we don't use this sort of name, and anonymously we could use it anywhere. So we just give an object name instead of the function name, and the lambda function can take any number of arguments. Okay, arguments, you know that x, y, whatever variable we put inside, but can only have one expression. We have only one expression in each lambda function. But have you seen that we have the many expression in this uh, the function we make here? You see there are the two expressions we are taking. Getting it? Volume and LSA. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? These are called the expressions. So these expressions we are taking. So we could take only one expression, and lambda arguments expression, lambda arguments we write, then expression. We write the lambda first. There is no bracket. With a space, we write the argument, and colon, after colon, we write the expression. So this is the overall syntax of the lambda function. The expression is executed and the result is returned. So the lambda function that odds 10 of the number passed in argument and print the result. So adds 10 to the number. So I am adding 10 instead of 13. I have written because of last time I have changed it. So adds 10 to the number. So this is something A. Whatever A I will write here, X I am giving a name to this, the object name of this function. And I will create it. I will create this. And I will write the X, then comma 15. So 15 plus 10, I will get the 25. I clear it out. I will get 25. So whatever I will get, I will write here. I will get the 10 more than that. 23. Lambda function take any number of arguments. We could take any number of arguments, but the expression would be 1. So lambda function that multiples arguments with argument B, A with argument B, multiplying A with B and print the result. So X is equal to lambda A comma B. In this way, we have to write the arguments. And then colon A multiplied by B. And we are writing here the arguments and we are printing it out 30. Lambda function that sums argument A, B, and C and print the results. So in this way, A, B, C, we write A plus B plus C. And we could write in this way. So this is the lambda. Why use lambda functions? The power of lambda is better shown when you use them as an anonymous function inside another function. And I explained, okay, I not explained to you. I'll explain some other session. So generally we do is we use it in some other function, which we define. So you have a function definition that takes one argument and that argument will be multiplied with the unknown number. Suppose I am making defining a function, my function n, and return lambda. A is a variable for this lambda function and A multiplied by n. So this is just, I am creating a function. And then what I am doing, what I am going to do, I am doing my doubler. My doubler, what here we are going to do, my function 2. If I run this, see what happens. It is 90. So A, I have assigned somewhere. That is taking the A the previous time what we have. No, A to N. 45. Oh, I am getting this, sorry. I am getting this. Correct. So what I am doing, I am making my func 2. So here n is 2. And I am doing this doubler, my doubler, because I will take here 2. So I am giving it name doubler. It will double the value, whatever I will write the in my doubler. So my doubler, if I write the 45, if I write the 45, the 45 would be A. 45 would be A. So that is the 90. Okay. I could write the tripler also, my tripler, and my tripler 45 into 3, 135. So in this way, we could use inside a function, this lambda function. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
so like we did here return lambda. So can we do like in previous line, yeah, print we have written X. Can we directly do their lambda, print lambda A, B, C? No.
No, no.
So like in return case, it functions directly. Means like
Uh,
it takes directly the value. But in print case, we cannot do like that.
No, we are putting that A value here. No? This is A
Yeah.
and this is N. N
Hmm.
will be in this function. There, this attribute argument is a N, which
Yeah.
is 2 here, my func.
Mm-hmm.
And I am making this my func as a my doubler because I have given here 2. And I could write any name, X, Y, Z, whatever I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have given because I'm making it 2 times, whatever I will give the value of A, it will be double with multiplied by this A into N. So N is 2 and A, whatever I will put the N, A, sorry, A, if I put the A12, so I will get 24. This is A.
Okay.
So here we have not given any name to lambda function. Have we given any name?
No, sir.
But when I taken this lambda function in another, when I am defining a function inside that, in the written expression. So that would be my, whenever I will call it, if I call it only this much, I just do one thing. And I write the my delta. You will see what will happen. You're not getting anything because we are not passing the argument for lambda.
Yeah.
We are passing the argument for our function and function definition. That is called the function definition, define function. We are not passing the argument for the lambda. So this in this name we have to pass the argument for lambda. If you pass 16, you will get the 32. Got it?
Yeah, sir, but what is the difference? Like, why we use this extra lambda instead of this square or cube root? We can do, right?
This is the simple example I am giving you. We use this in a very complex manner.
Okay.
Later on, you will see in some cases, you will see the use of these, then you could better understand. This is the simple example how we could apply it.
Okay, sir.
It is not for only for just this thing, what I am telling you.
Yes.
Instantly, we could do 2 into 16 in this way. But it is just for the understanding in the simple way.
Okay.
So that is the triplet and global and local variables I would like to explain you. So here you see I have taken the my doubler 11. I will write, I will get the 22. In the my tripler, I will write, I will get the 33. Okay. Whatever you will write here, because in the doubler you have take another function and the tripler you have make another function. Okay. The lambda is basically a anonymous function. We use it without any name. We without any name we could apply it. So global and local variables I will explain you. If I write the a equal to 10 and I define the display and there is no argument here and b is equal to 20, print b. And then I ask this function, so you see what I get the 20. Okay. What I will get this is my local variable and this is my global variable. Understand?
Sir, why we need the global and normal variable?
Global variable could apply anywhere. Could apply anywhere. If I write the display E, okay, it will operational 0. Sorry, I've taken the 0. It will not give here. That's the problem. So this is basically our this local variable which is inside that defined. And when we are defining the function inside that, then these variable are called the local. I will explain later on in detail. Here you see A is 10 and define display B is 20. Print global A and print global B. So you will see global A 20 and local B. Sorry, global is A. A is global. So I'm printing the global. So when I'm printing the global, that will be A, and that is a 20 because I have written here A. Okay. So if I write something C is equal to 40 here, it is also a global because it is outside this function. So whatever the variable you are putting outside the function, that is a global variable which you could apply, you could use anywhere. You could use anywhere. Got it? I explain just a moment. You will understand it better. A and C are the global outside the function. Got it? If I write A plus C, what I am getting? 50. If I write A plus B, what I am getting? Now, does that make sense to you? A little bit you understand. B is a local. B is inside the function, so it could apply only in this function. When you call the display, if I comment this and if I require only display, I will get the value 20. I also do it comment, then you will get that. I have not called it. No? 20. Just a moment. Just a moment. You got it or not? Why I'm not getting this? I will see it. Because I have to use the print. I will show you that thing, why it is not running. Because I have not given the return. I have to print B or return B. I should write that thing there. I have not closed this function. I have to close this function with return. I am getting, because I have not closed this function. I have defined the function. We could close with the return or the print. So I'm closing with the return, then I am printing it, I will get it. If I don't use the print, I should get it also. I'm getting it, correct? Got it? So because I have to close this function here, then I could apply that thing. So you see, we could only use this local variable when we use the function. But global variables we could use anywhere, as I am using here in this cell. If I use the A and C, I will get it, the value. Does that make sense to everyone or not? Yes. The variable you have use in defining a function will not be workable globally. And it will work only with that function. And the variable you have assigned in outside the function, then you could access anywhere. That is the difference between. That is very simple. Okay.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Can a global variable can be modified inside a function?
Yes, yes. I'm going to tell you that thing.
Okay.
Here I will show you one thing. A is 10 and defining display A is equal to 5. And there are two values. You see there is a is equal to 5 and it is the same name of the global and the local variable you see here. Object name is same. Okay. The values are different. So if I just want to print A, I don't write the global A or the whatever. I write a print A and I run this display, and you will see what happens. 5. I am getting 5. Okay. If I comment this, I have not written any variable inside that. Now I am using this A. If I want to print A, it will print this 10. See it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in that way, it will use the global variable instead. If we don't have that local variable, then it will first it will search here. It will not get here. Then it will go to the global variable. If global and local variable name is the same, then the preference would be given to the local variable. It is not in the local variable, then it will search outside that. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, because I have commented it, so it is not this function is not getting it here, so it go outside that. Okay. Now I will say the user defined function. You know that these are all the user defined function. We are making it, we are defining it. Built-in functions are mean, mode, median. This we will see later on. So add, I am giving the a, b, sum a plus b, return sum. So I could have a is equal to input. I am taking the integer as input, enter first number, and b is equal to integer, input second number. And I will show you first this. So you will get in, if you use this input function, then you will get here one cell. So I'm writing the first number 4. Okay, then I do the make the enter. So it will ask me about the second number. I am writing the 3. Then it will give me the result 7. Got it? Okay. So this input function we could use in the differential, you will get it. Okay, otherwise you could take this already as you had taken. You define in a function a b, a4 and b3 you write, you will get the 7. Otherwise you could get in this way, add 4, 7. You are getting, or 4, 3. Sorry, we have taken the 3 last time. You are getting 7. Okay. We could use in this way, or we could use the input also. Okay. So this is all about the lambda function. We will see later on in detail when we apply this, then we could better understand that. Now, I will tell you something about the arrays. In Python, Vijay, we are not using the switch. We are using that switch statement. Instead of that, we are using that while and the for loops. Switch we apply in the R. I have not used it this switch here, but I will see if there is any option. Okay. Because in R we used it switch. Have you attended the R session and where I use the switch? So here it is not there. In Python, I have not seen. Python does not have built-in support for arrays. Okay, in the Python, we know the list, we know the tuple and this all. But Python list can be used instead. Instead of array, we could use the Python list. Arrays are used to store multiple values in one single variable. So create an array containing car names. So Ford, Volvo, and BMW cars name. I am making one list here, and print cars and type cars. So I will show you. So it is a list basically. And if I use the for loop for this, so I will get in this way. What is an array? An array is a special variable which can hold more than one value at a time. So if you have a list of items, a list of car names, for example, storing the cars in the single variable could look like this. Car 1 equal to Ford, car 2 is equal to Volvo, car 3 is equal to BMW, in this way. However, if you want to loop through the cars and find the specific one, and what if you had not 3 cars but 300, the solution is an array. So an array can hold, if you use the loop, then not possible to get a specific car, a specific one. So an array can hold many values under a single name, and you can access the values by referring to an index number. So you refer to an array element by referring the index number, just like list, the cars too. So second is our which one? BMW 012. Okay. So it is a BMW. Modify the value of the first array item. So that is the Toyota. We are going to change first one, which is the Ford. We are writing the Toyota. So it is the Toyota. Now the length of
here we didn't create an array, sir.
No, we didn't create an array. We are just using the list we could use as an array. Here I am showing you that. In the NumPy, we will say how to create an array, the NumPy package. And here I am showing in the Python basic, we treat list as an array. Okay. But type would be list. So use the length method to return the length of an array, the number of elements in the array. Then it would be like is it just the list? We are using an array. So looping array elements, you can use the for in loop and the loop through an elements in the array, the like same as we have adding array elements. These are all the list. There's nothing else. Okay. So these are all the list basically. It is we could use it as an array. that does that mean is. Now, I will explain you something about now we see this is very important in Python, the OOPS concepts. So object oriented programming, we have to see this OOPS concept. So there is a class, there is an object, abstraction is one thing, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and this all we have to study in this OOPS concept. So we will understand one by one. What is object-oriented programming? That is called a OOPS. So Python has been object-oriented language since it existed. It is in this tutorial we will try to get in-depth feature of the OOPS in Python programming. Object-oriented programming is a method of structuring a program by bundling related properties and behaviors into individual objects. So you see, everything we do with the object, some object name we give and we work with the object. The programming languages are emerging constantly and so are different methodologies. Object-oriented programming is one such methodology that has become quite popular over past few years. Okay. In this chapter, we talk about the features of Python programming language and that makes it an object-oriented programming language. Language programming classification scheme, Python can be characterized under object-oriented programming methodologies. So the image, this list I will show you. Python can be characterized under the object-oriented programming language. So you see the programming paradigm, if we see the categories, the procedural, scripting, and functional. And these are the language, the C, C++, and these all. So compilation class, static and dynamic. Here you see the Python name, the scripting language we could use is like that. And compilation class, we also, it is a dynamic, the Python is dynamic, as well as scripting, dynamic. And the type of classes we see, it is a strong, Python is a strong language. And memory class, so it is also managed. Okay, it could be managed. So this is the basic few technical concepts of this. Object-oriented means directed towards objects. Directed towards object. In other words, it means functionality directed towards modeling objects. And this is one of the many techniques used for modeling complex systems by describing a collection of interacting objects via their data and behavior. So here we see the major pillars of an object-oriented programming are inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So object-oriented analysis, if we talk, is a process of examining a problem, system, or task and identifying the object and interactions between them. That is a OOA. So I will tell you some important thing. This I will share with you. You could understand better way. Object-oriented programming is based on the concept of objects rather than actions. Okay, the data rather than logic in order for a programming language to be object-oriented. So if you see this, the OOPS, there is an inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. We will see later on one by one. Now I explain you what is encapsulation. This property hides unnecessary details and make it easier to manage the program structure. Each object's implementation and state are hidden behind well-defined boundaries, and that provides a clean and simple interface for working with them. One way to accomplish this is by making the data private. It is the encapsulation. In the encapsulation, we put the thing in the capsule. So inheritance, you don't know what is in the capsule. You just swallow it. So that is the encapsulation. You just understanding think this, and then we do the practical, you could better understand. Inheritance is the parent-child relationship type we do it. Inheritance, also called the generalization, allows us to capture a hierarchical relationship between classes and objects. For instance, a fruit is a generalization of orange. Okay, there is a fruit is a generalization of orange. Inheritance is very useful from a code reuse perspective. So that is the inheritance. Abstraction, this properly allows us to hide the details and expose only the essential features of a concept or objects. For example, a person driving a scooter knows that and on pressing a horn, sound is emitted, but he has no idea about how the sound is actually generated on pressing the horn. So abstraction will hide the details and expose only the essential features. Okay. Polymorphism means many forms, that is thing or action is present in the different forms or ways. One good example of polymorphism is constructor overloading in classes. So we will see later on this in practical. So I will just give you a little bit idea what is object and what is class we see. So first I explaining. It will take little time. The object oriented planning will take, it's not easy to understand in one shot. It will take, we have to do many scripts and then you could better understand it. The heart of Python program is object and OOP. However, you need not restrict yourself to use the OOP by organizing your code into classes. Okay. OOP adds to the whole design philosophy of Python and encourages a clean and pragmatic way to programming. OOP also enables in writing bigger and complex programs. And it is very helpful. When we develop a chatbot, we use this OOP concept. And without OOP, we could not do anything in the chatbot. So we could not make a chatbot on the R programming language. We could make the chatbot on Python because we use here the OOP concept. So first we see modules versus classes and objects, and modules are like dictionaries. Okay, so when we working on modules, note the following points. You note it down that the Python module is a package to encapsulate reusable code. And modules reside in a folder with an init.py file on it. It is not here in the Jupyter. We use this in the PyCharm and some other text editor. Modules contain functions and classes, and modules are imported using the import keyword. So then we do practical, you could better understand. Here just giving you some theoretical part. So you could better, when we work on a practical way, to you may little bit understand what we have seen in the PPT. Then I will again show you the PPT and explain these all things. Now class is just a factory for an instance. And this factory contains the blueprint, which describes how to make the instance. An instance or object are constructed from the class. In most cases, we can have more than one instances of a class. Every instance has a set of attributes, and these attributes are defined in a class. So every instance of a particular class is expected to have the same attributes. So class bundles behavior and state we see. So the class bundles together behavior and state, methods and the behavior, and the attributes are the state. Okay. And the method is a behavior, whatever the function we use, and the variable are the state. The class will let you bundle together the behavior and state of an object. Observe the diagram for the better understanding I have explained here. Okay, variables are state and behavior, methods are the behavior. Okay, or class is a bundle of these two things, behavior and state. Okay. Object-oriented programming, yeah, if we see more thing here, the following points are worth notable when discussing class bundles. The word behavior is an identical to function. है ना? Function is a behavior, method, function. It is piece of code that does something or implements a behavior. A word state is identical to variables. It is placed to store values within a class. है ना? When we assert a class behavior and a state together, it means that a class packages functions are variables. So I will again explain you. There are so many theoretical material in this for I have written here for the better understanding in a different perspective. Class objects and objects is an instance of a class. A class is like a blueprint, while an instance is a copy of the class. Okay, so class is what? It is a blueprint. As you see, we have a one template of PowerPoint presentation. And one specific template of PowerPoint presentation in Cypher Analytica. You will see the same color here. And this sort of thing you will see in my all the PowerPoints. Okay. So the pattern, this is a template. This is a class basically. Okay. This is a blueprint. So, and here I will write the different thing, the different PPT I have. Okay. So a class is like a blueprint, while an instance is a copy of the class with actual values. It is not an idea anymore. It is an actual dog, like a dog or breed pug who's 7 years old. You can have many dogs to create many different instances, but without the class as a guide, you would be lost, not knowing what information is required. An object consists of state, behavior, and identity. State I have told you, it is the attributes. It also reflects the properties of an object. Behavior is represent the methods of an object. That is the function. It is also reflect the response of an object with other objects. And identity, it gives a unique name to an object and enables one object to interact with the other objects. Okay. So I have taken this example of dog. The object, an object is an instance of a class. A class is like a blueprint, while an instance is a copy of the class is with actual values. It is, I have repeated it. An object consists of state, behavior, identity. Just repeated this. That slide, I think that identity, name of the dog, state, attribute, breed, age, color, and the behavior is bark, sleep, and eat. Okay. These are the behaviors of the dog. These are the attributes of the dog. Okay. These are the identity. So understand what is the identity and what is the state attributes and what are the behaviors. So this is the example we have taken. Classes have methods and attributes. In Python, creating a method defines a class behavior. A word method is the up name given to a function that is defined within a class to sum up. Method is given a name to a function to sum up these all things. So which define a class within a class, will define within a class, sorry. So class functions is synonymous for methods. If you are defined a function without a class, that is a function. Understand that thing? Keep this in mind. Whatever the function we have read in the last days, the function, define function, creating function, then calling function, they were only function. They were not method. Now, when we define the function within a class, in class you define some function, then it is called a methods. Understand? First we create a class. Okay. Then we define the function inside the class. That would be method. So class functions is a synonymous for methods. Class variables is synonym for name attributes. Class a blueprint for an instance with exact behavior. Object, one of the instance of the class. Perform functionality defined in the object class. Type indicate the class the instance belongs to. Attribute, any object value, object attribute. Method, a callable attribute defined in a class. Okay, so we'll see it practical way something. So just I am giving you one simple idea today. Tomorrow we have few scripts with the oops. So just here we are seeing we are getting what is the class and object. So create a class, how to create a class. Okay, we have a keyword class for creating a class. I'm creating a class named my class. This is the name of class, that is my class, with the property name x. That is the x is equal to 5. So if I print my class, so I will get this. Okay, print my class. So here I have not written anything, the return or anything, the print. It will this print is separate from that. I am printing this my class. The class finished here. Create object. What is object? So I will tell you. This is the class. And now we can use the class named my class to create an object. So I am creating one object P1. Okay, my class. So when I try to print P1.x, so you will see what I get, 5. So because x is equal to 5 is here. So I have created an object, then I could print print that object. And I use the class named my class to create an object. So I have created an object named P1 and print the value of x. Then I could print this value in that object. Without object, I could not print it. Understand? I could create the class, but without object, I could not do anything. Init function means initialize. Examples above are classes or objects in their simplest form and are not really useful in real life application. And these examples basically. To understand the meaning of class, we have to understand the built-in init function. Without this init function, built-in function is here, we could not understand the class properly. All classes have a function called init. All classes have a function, this function, which is always executed when the class is being initiated. Okay, so use the init function to assign values to object properties or other operations that are necessary to do when the object is being created. So create a class named person. Okay, this name of the class, and use the init function to assign the values for the name and age. So we are using a self will be first argument. It is the default argument always. The self would be there in the init, the double underscore init double underscore. Here in the class, I am defining this init function. So this would be a method now. Person would be a method. So self would be the default argument. It will always we have to write. Then whatever the argument required, the name and age we are writing, 2 arguments I am passing here. So with this self dot name is equal to name, and the self dot age is equal to this age I am taking. No, it is we could write some other name also instead of self. That is not compulsory to write the self always. But in default, we basically universally we write the self. Yeah. Okay. So later I will explain you in detail about the self. In the other script I have written about of this detail. But here I am just showing how the class work. First we understand that. Then I will talk you about these all arguments, whatever we are using. And I will give the definition, everything. I will explain you later. So this class I have created, it finished here. Now I am creating the object. P1 is my object and P2 is my object. So P1 is object because I have not put any name here. Okay, I have just taken the generic variable name and age. So I will write in the person is my class. So I will write the person. This the P1 is my first object, person. The John 36. Name is John and age is 36. I have written here. And P2 is another object I am creating where the Mohsin 23. Okay. If I just write print one dot name. So I have done this thing first and it already have been saved inside. And if I call this object P1 dot name. So P1 have many attributes I could write here, whatever I will take. So I will get John P1 dot name and P2 dot name age I have taken. So P2 age is 23. So it is giving me 23. So in this way, I could assign the values. These values I am assigning here, name and age, and creating this object and then printing this object. Object can also contain methods. Methods in an object are function that are that belong to the object. Let us create method in the person function. So this is the basic class. This is the default function we are using in it, that is compulsory, but some other function we are using in a class. So that is, this function is in this class, my func. So my func is self. There is no attribute I have given. Self attribute is to be given. The print hello, my name is plus self dot name. And print my age is percent as percent self dot age. So I will show you the P1 object I am creating and the P1 dot my function. You will see what it is giving me.
The percent s is for space and percent is for addition.
Person is my class and my func I will not use anywhere because I will call the class.
Okay.
I will create the object with class and I have created it. The object with class, the my person, and then I will P1 dot. P1 is the object I have created here. Okay, then I P1 dot my function. If I call in the my function, whatever I have written, that it will give me for P1 object. For P1 object, it will give me this output. What is?
Yes, sir. Then percent s is for space inside my func.
Just a moment. What I could not understand.
Then
What?
just you wrote no, print my age is percent s.
Okay,
Okay.
this is we are taking some numeric number. So up to here, these quotes you see. So here our that string finished. Percent s for strings.
Okay.
Then percent I am using for this self dot age is a numeric value.
Okay.
For this numeric value, I am using this. For name, I don't require this all thing. I am just using hello, my name is, and then plus self dot name because it is a string.
Okay.
John is a string. So it will come automatically there. You see, hello, my name is John. Yeah. John is a string. And here, my age is 36. If I put here plus, it will not give me that response. It will give me the error.
Oh.
So I will let you know these all things later on. There are some other symbols also, why we do it, why we apply it. I will explain in detail later on.
Okay.
Okay. This minor thing I will explain you later on. Don't worry. Here I have given some notes also. The self parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class and used to access variables that belong to that class. Okay. So the self parameter I have written here in detail. The self parameter is a reference to the current instance of the class. Okay. and is used to access variables that belongs to the class. Okay. It does not have to be named self. You can call it whatever you like, but it has to be first parameter of any function in the class. So I am using, instead of say my silly object. Got it? Instead of cell, I could write anything as I explained you earlier. But it should be always when we call it. Okay? Dot name and my silly object dot h. So self is universally we use self. So we write instead of this self. Okay? It will do the same work. Don't worry. Self is in the PyCharm, you see when you write this init, it will automatically give you the self. But here in Jupyter, we have to write it. Okay. So here I have, hello, my name is abc.name. So abc is here given, I have. So the person object I am creating John 36 and P2 Mohit 14 and P2 dot my function. If I run it, so I will get that, hello, my name is Mohit. Okay. So here you see I have taken the plus and abc.name. I could take this. Previously what I have taken? Self.name. From here. Here I am using, if I am using here something, I have not, I have using the self here. I am using ABC. So I could write the abc.name, sorry. Got it? So that's difference I have mentioned you. Here I have used the my silly object. This is not this self. This is the this. Here it is the self for this defined function. Self is not an argument basically. Arguments you have the, it is the default argument we use it. It is not, we could not use independently self. We have to use with along with this. Okay, I explained you that here also. Just a moment. Self is a parameter, is a reference to the current instance of the class, and is used to access variables that belong to that class. Okay, variables, you know that. Access variables that belong to that class, the age and name, these are the variables. It is the self parameter. It is a parameter. Okay. Modify object properties we see. We have a very long session for OOPS, don't worry. We'll read it again and again in the different way. I will explain you. We have a very scripts for this, not only this one. P1.age is equal to 40. We could modify it. P1.age is, we know that it is 36. And I am changing it, 40. So if I print next time, I will get, if I print here again. Now you could understand better. Previously it's what 36, later it is 40. Got it? Okay. So we have modified it. Delete object property. If I want to delete the property of the object like age, so delete p1.age and print p1age. So it is the person object has no attribute age. So there is no attribute now for age. Delete object. If I want to delete the object, I will just write the p1, delete p1. So it will delete that object only. Now, again, I explained about the self. The word self is used to represent the instance of a class. By using the self keyword, we access the attributes and methods of the class in Python. Init method is a reserved method in Python class. It is called a constructor in object oriented terminology है ना, we say it is a constructor. And this method is called when an object is created from a class and it always the class to initialize the attributes of the class. So I explain you this little small example. Find out the cost of a rectangular field with breadth B120 and the length 160. It cost into 2000 rupees per 1 square unit. Okay. So I am making this, you could better understand. I have tried to explain with this example. I am taking the class rectangle. First, I am defining the init method here. Self, length, breadth, and unit cost. Unit cost I am writing here 0 in default. Okay. Self dot length equal to length, self dot breadth equal to length, self dot unit cost equal to unit underscore cost. This I have taken here. Now first I will take one function I will define here for getting out the area. Without area, I could not multiply with the cost 2000. So get underscore area self return self dot length into self dot breadth. Okay. And then I am defining the calculate cost. This is with the self only. And the area is equal to self dot get area first. So this self dot get area, I am taking it here as area. Okay, of this function I am using here. So now return area into self unit cost. Self dot unit underscore cost. Self dot unit underscore cost of this. I am using it here. And this, I could write this also. Self dot get area into self dot unit underscore cost. I could write that way also. But I want the return these all things. Okay, so if I want, I could write this thing. So I have given one name. For specifically, I have written here. You could do in this way also. Otherwise, you could write the self dot get area, and here in the return self dot get underscore area into self dot unit underscore cost. Got it? Because so why I have given here some variation. Okay, you could do in that way also. So R, I am creating an object. R is object. A rectangle is my class 160, 120, and 2000. These are the three variables I'm putting. And print area of rectangle. First I am printing the area of rectangle. I will get underscore area also. So that I will get through this. Okay, because I have defined this function inside this class. So the percent R dot get area, I will get that area. And here you see the cost of the rectangle field, rupees percentage percent R dot calculate cost. So I will show you this. Getting it? Any doubt here? Now I could use anywhere. I could use anywhere. I will write the R1, another object I create. Sorry, I am using the command of R. Rectangle. Okay, so I am writing here 20 by 30 by 1500. Okay, this object. Then I print. I just print the r dot get area. I don't want to write the everything. Sorry, R1. What? Gate 600. This is the area 20 into 30. Now, if I want the print R1 dot calculate underscore cost. It is 9 lakh. Does that make sense to everyone? So we will see the practical use of this all in the next session. Where we will use so many files I have for OOPS. I will explain you one by one. You see, there is OOPS, OOPS, and OOPS. We have the three files, different files for OOPS. Okay. It can be done by functions. You see here what the data is, whatever we are writing, the data will go to the specific place. When we create the object, that data will be fed somewhere. And as per that data, these variables you have, suppose you have these variables in the different columns. In one column, you have length, the second column, you have breadth, third column, you have the cost. And whenever you call something like particular observation reference, you could find out anything if you have created this function, this class, sorry. Reusability is there. You could reuse again and again. Okay. So that is the thing. Okay. You have to fit whatever the value you have to fit with that class name, and you have to print with that object name. Whatever the function you have defined there. First to create an object, then call with that object name. Whatever you have function defined in the class. Does that make sense to you?
Sir, I will just confirm my understanding regarding this class. So, without knowing class, we cannot encapsulate the entire program, right?
No, we could not.
So, so class helps in encapsulation and also helps in also helps in running more than two functions in a single program.
More than two functions in a single program. Yes.
Right. So that is the advantage, I could say, rather than just doing the single function with function command.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So because this all we will not show next time, we will use the class name only. Whatever the you will feed with the class name. Okay, the class and then the variable you will put. We are not showing this to them. Okay. So you could use the class and We could find the output whatever we want. Okay.
Correct, sir.
If I don't write here 1500, see what happens. It's okay. And here you see why I am getting 0. Look at here. Default argument. Got it? In the last session, we have done this thing. Na? Default argument I have explained you. Okay. So that it then when the area will multiply with the cost is 0 at default if you are using the only 2. So it will the length and breadth only. The third attribute is 0 in default, so you will get the 0. Any doubt now? You little bit, I think you understand little, only the 2%, 3%, 5%, that's okay. Yeah. Try to catch the concept of class and object. Just. Okay. अभी मेरा ये meaning नहीं है कि you understand the whole thing about the class, and we have many scripts in the OOPS, and it will take 2 more days to understand the OOPS properly. है ना? So यदि आपको एक छोर भी पकड़ में आ जाता है इसका एक corner, if you pick it, that's okay. Understand?
Yes.
Sir, and another doubt I had with respect to my doubler, one of the example you have taken.
That was in lambda function, na?
Yeah. So I did not get the point. So we did not mention any argument for my doubler, but still in the code you have taken it as an argument. I did not get that point.
Okay.
Sir, here only.
It is a my doubler. My doubler, what I am giving, to which I am giving my func2.
Yes.
I am putting this value 2, so I am using a name my doubler. It will double the thing, whatever I will write in the my doubler. Now my doubler is my another through the lambda function argument. I have to put here in my doubler. This A.
Okay.
This is A basically. So I have to put in my doubler.
Okay. But as above you mentioned my function n. So here n is 2. So
N
similar to that, so similar to that for my doubler, there is no argument required. So why we need to supply this?
Because there is a lambda function in return. There is an argument A in the lambda. Okay. So when we call this function, when I call this function only, then I could not get anything.
Okay.
If I call only this, I will show you.
So it is like a local variable you are calling in another function.
Yes. Local variable calling in another function.
Okay.
Just like that. You understand? We are not getting anything. Okay. So I am giving this name. And then in this name, I have to give the attribute for the lambda function. The value for the lambda attribute. Okay. When we will do it practically, I have used this lambda somewhere in our practical scripts. So then you could better understand that thing. Here I am just giving you one idea. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You also do one thing. You read something on the net, also see the video of OOPS, and these all things you will get so many videos and so many literature for OOPS for better understanding. I will explain here itself, but you read more for the better understanding. Okay. So I think it is done for today. Okay. Tomorrow we will cover tomorrow. If you come sharp 7, we could start at the sharp 7. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we start with sharp 7 and we finish it's 8:30 or 8:45. Okay.
Sir, I haven't got the course material yet. So can
What?
you share course material? I haven't got. I did not get drive link.
I have shared. I have shared. Just you see your mail. You just see your mail. I am here.
Acha.
You just see because I during starting the session I shared it.
Acha, you have shared it, na?
Yes,
Okay.
you
So
look at the mail first. Have you got it or not?
I will check that later and will be able to tell you.
Yeah, because the
I will.
Shelly also didn't get this thing. So I shared with you and Shelly both.
I received.
Okay. Okay.
You got now, Shelly?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes. So Adit, I also shared your mail ID. Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
I didn't get, so I have to fill the form
Fill
again.
the form or I think that you write your mail ID here.
Okay,
Malka.
I will.
In the
I
chat
will write.
box, you
I
write
will
your
write
mail
my
ID.
mail
So
ID.
I
Yes.
just share with you. And you
Okay,
also
sir.
fill the form, okay? Because in the
Yeah.
certification process, you will get problem.
Okay, sir.
So this ID I'm adding there, so you will get that material, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I have shared it, okay?
Okay, sir. I will check it.
Now you could access the.
Okay, sir.
Thanks everyone.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Bye, sir.
Bye bye.